Now, I know you're trying to get a final fight. I think the retirement match is what we're calling it. Likely here in New Orleans, likely hopefully this year. Where are we at so far with that?
Me and the UFC been working on this, and I was worried when I first came to them with the idea that I want to retire at home in Louisiana, that they would be against it, but surprisingly they were down for it to push forward and try to make it happen for me. And I think we're close. I think this summer we could have a fight here in New Orleans.
And who would it be against? There's a lot of talk that it might be Patty Pimlet or somebody. Who's it going to be?
It's 100% not Patty Pimlet.
Okay.
Legends only. I'm not going to retire fighting a Patty Pimlet.
Oh, I love that. You know, there hasn't been.
Usually when it makes sense, it's his agent. When it doesn't make sense, you know, he actually tweeted it.
So do you have a message? I'm sure he's watching. Do you have a message for him?
No. Stay out of the cold.
Fair enough. And the last one for me, this op.
Бегал. Короче, рука уже столько зажимается. Можно будет бить через 4 месяца. Скорее всего, вернусь через 6.
Muhammad tweeted, "I'd come at him with a 1-2. Then he'd wing an overhand. I'll duck it, change levels, and take him down. Then he'd shrimp and get the underhook to get out, but he'll be too weak to get up. So then I'll hit him with ground and pound for the rest of round 1. Round 2 starts and I come out with a flying knee. He shells up. Then I hit him with the Zabit back trip, then point and laugh at him. This makes him mad. He gets up and charges forward winging punches at me. I slide out of the way with ease, then hit him with a 1-2. Then he gets frustrated, shoots for a takedown. I defend with ease, but now he's tired and stays on his knees. I kick him to the body while he's on the ground. End of round 2. Round 3 starts and he's distraught. He can't hit me. He can't take me down. So then he tries spinning stuff. I back up at the right time and end up taking his back. He lets me under chin out of frustration, then I put him to sleep. And new. Double champ.
Conor McGregor ended up in the Oval Office this week. What do you think that says about the state of US politics?
It's very depressing. And it seems very strange to me that the President of the United States has so many friends who are sexual abusers.
Why do you think
Duplessis was able to make more adjustments than Strickland was able to make? And, you know, I think, I don't know. I mean, look, Nixick did the right thing. He jumped on him from round 1. Like, I think Sean is so used to sparring that way that it's hard for him to break out of it when he needs to. You know, he's just, it's different. Where the other guy, you know, is willing to go into deep waters. He's awkward as shit, but he's effective. You know, so I enjoyed the fight. It was nice. I thought it was started. I think it was kind of what we said. It's going to be the same thing. It was different, but, you know, Strickland didn't really make any adjustments. He still stayed behind the jab, and, you know, his defense was pretty good. But the other guy just doesn't stop. He is like a Marab.
And such a huge star in China for us. She trended, I want to say she trended number 1 like 4 times during fight week. 100 million views just on UFC platforms in China. And tonight she was trending number 1 in all the big territories for us. So huge star.
Creio que é muitas coisas, muita gente falando muitas coisas, pero estou em busca de um título e o campeão hoje é William Makhachev. Então, Topuria é um cara muito duríssimo, merece todo o respeito do mundo, pero hoje no momento não vejo como uma grande luta. E se, como estou em busca de um título, né, tenho que lutar com o Makhachev para poder vencer e se tornar campeão mais uma vez.
So I was doing some groundwork, and it was a basic thing I've done a million times. You know, you're on your back from half guard and you get up on your elbow, and then you reach to a single and you use your elbow to get up. And when you put posts on the ground like that with somebody on top of your head, and I just pretty much it just shot out the back the second I put my elbow down and went to pull in that single leg. And the difference with this one from the first one was the first one was only out for like maybe 3 minutes. It was a nice quick slide back in. Shout out to Tim Roberts and Lauda and everybody at the UFC PI here in Mexico City. They were able to pull my shoulder right into place pretty quick. That was excruciating pain, but it was so quick. Whereas the second one, they went to pull it in and it did not go back. It just stayed where it was at. And all the muscles locked it down on top of the nerve. And for about an hour and a half, from driving to traffic to the hospital, to getting to the hospital, and then needing to get an x-ray, because it's not like the movies where you just slide a shoulder back in every time. It doesn't always work that way. So the second time it didn't work that way. When they went to slide it in, it was sitting very particularly. So they have to do an x-ray to see how to pull it back in, what direction to yank your arm when they reset it. Because if you pinch certain nerves, then it can shut the whole arm off, and it's just really damaging. So I'm in the hospital for an hour, 15 minutes. My arm starts turning blue. And when I see my fingers turning blue and just things being weird and the pain was excruciating, it just gave a different perspective for me. I always say I deserve this kind of pain. And the reason is because that's the only way I learn. So this was enough pain to teach me something and get me to kind of like say, okay, it was just different.
Weili is, I think, one of the best women's fighters to ever do it. I did not think she'll be able to stop the takedown that easily. Tatiana's going to learn from this one. I think that she needs to do better with her stand-up, trust her more.
From the boxing fans' point of view, when do you envisage then for you to get going with your first event?
End of the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this year, 2025,
yeah.
you will put on your first event.
Start goofing around a little bit at the end of the summer, and everything will go into full swing in 26, but I'll be doing some stuff this year.
You've looked under the hood of this sport over the years. You've told me on many occasions it's broken.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to fix it, to get it to where you want it to be?
You rip it apart and you build it from the ground up. When you think about the UFC, when we first bought the company, we had like 12 contracts. Now there's almost 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally build it from the ground up. You start finding young up and coming talent, matchmaking, putting on exciting live events, pacing the show the right way. And obviously putting on a great television product. It's basically the same thing we do here, just in boxing.
Your analysis of the fight on Saturday, the main event on Saturday, brutally honest.
Yeah.
And especially in particular towards Sean Strickland, you essentially saying he's not who he thinks he is, or he's not who he tells us he is, right?
He's exactly who he knows who he is. He's just not telling us that.
Okay,
right?
what do you mean by that?
And that's what fighters do, is that as a fighter, your job is to almost kind of conceal who you really are, because in the moments when you fight, you go out there and try to do your thing. But you know who you really are. And I think he couldn't hide from it this time.
That's interesting to me because you always hear people say like, oh, in the gym, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He brings, so what's the difference?
Well, the difference is the spotlight. The lights, man, when them lights hit you, it's the real you shows up. The real you will expose itself when the lights hit you. And that's what's happening to him, is that he's not that guy. And people think that I'm being mean. I'm not being mean. It's just not many people are. I'm not that guy. Not many people are that guy. Duplessis is that guy, but he's not. To go in there and be vulnerable and put your life on the line and go out there and fight really hard for 15 minutes to just go ahead. And we all do hard stuff in life. But to do it in front of everybody when it's time, I mean, it takes a special person. And he might have been there a few times in his career or whatever, but that's not who he is now. We've seen it his last couple of fights. Like, he's just not willing to go in and be the dog that he told us he was.
Is he a fraud?
He's not a fraud.
Okay.
It's not
because I think when people see that, they'd be like, oh man, he's not that guy. Like, so then who is he?
No, but he wants to be, like everybody wants to be.
When he says things like, oh, I'm going to fight to the death.
Like,
and all
I think he means it.
Yeah.
Like, he means it. Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to bust you up. But when you get out there and it's time to do it and you don't do it, that's not who you are. It's not that you're a fraud. You got to come to terms with it. That, man, that me passed. It happens to every fighter. Like, it happens, like, at some point, in some careers, like, everybody is that guy. Like, if you're a good fighter, at some point you are. But you lose it. And I think he might have just lost it.